Hello, stitching friends. This is Sissy Smith of Gentle Pursuit Designs. Gosh, I wanted to introduce my Scottish Castle Etui. I have 160 students in England that have been champing at the bit, waiting for an introduction. Of course, after October 2025, it will also be available as a class both on Zoom and in person in America. So I'm late. I had hoped to do this by February 1st, but I have been laid low with a sinus infection that has just gone on and on to several other things. So hopefully I can get through this without coughing too much. Let's see, I've also been so busy because Pat and Peggy of Fern Ridge Collections invited me to share their Nashville showroom about September. And since then, I have reproduced maybe 6 antique samplers, including a wonderful, very small sampler from the Museum of Early Southern Decorative Arts Mazda collection that was stitched by a young Cherokee girl when she attended the Valley Towns Mission School in North Carolina. I also have made several smalls, so I've been a busy girl, but again, I'm late on this. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to show the models, the paper mock-ups of the Scottish Castle Etui, and Nicola will be sending out emails to my 160 students with the PDF. They're scattered across the world, which is just remarkable. I'm so thrilled and really looking forward to being back in England in the autumn and being with all these wonderful people. So Nicola will send the PDFs, but this is a self-lined project, and so I wanted to have this YouTube video so that they can refer back to it. Of course, the instructions are very detailed, step by step, and we'll look at some of those today. I took many of the motifs from this Scottish sampler, Scottish Castle Etui, from my Scottish samplers, including my 1814 sampler I'm looking at now that I have reproduced for market. So I thought it might be fun when we finish talking about the castle to just do a little walkabout. I'll see if I can flip this around and show you some of the motifs. If I can't figure that out, I will make 2 videos. Nicholas has tried, but I'm really no good at merging and producing these things. So, oh heck, I didn't bring the linen down. My model is stitched on Steinbeck flaxen needle linen. And for my students in England, I am hoping to offer kits. I have a limited amount of linen right now, but I'm talking with Rachel of Flaxen Needle and Access Commodities. Let me show you the colors, and we'll talk about why these are the colors too. So, several of my Scottish samplers, which I'll show you in a little bit, are stitched in pastels. I know when we think about Scottish samplers, we often think of red and green and wool. Those were often a first sampler for little girls when they were learning to stitch. But these are the colors, aren't they delightful, of several of my samplers. And so I decided that I would use these colors for the Scottish Castle Etui. And just to add fun, so I'm stitching mine with a Vera Soie d'Alger, and 2 of my favorite Glorianas. This is lacquered gold, and then this one, which is a big hank and it's a big mess, is raspberry parfait. So those are the colors, and I also have a conversion with the 103s. And you know how I am. I can't sparkle up my reproductions, but I am using a little bit of accentuate for this one. And also, because the castle is stitched in nun stitch, what you'll want to do is get a 103 that is the color of your linen. And mine is 603, which is in here somewhere. There it is. So my linen is this color, and my nun stitch is this color. For those of you who have not taken my self-lined classes, here's the thing. I am horrible at lining linen stitch needlework. In spite of the best efforts of some of the most renowned teachers in the world, when I miter my little corners of my silk and my linen, it never really satisfies me. So I decided that I would start doing self-lined pieces because they fit together perfectly. So this is a self-lined piece. Now let me show you a model of the little castle. Let me dump out. I made a drawbridge and an extra door. I'll talk about those later. But this is the little castle. So it has an outside. And it has an inside. And all the edges, you see here, at the bottom and the top, are lined with nun stitch. And when you finish stitching all of the patterns and all of the nun stitch, we're going to join it together. And when we get together in Swindon, that's what we're going to be working on. Also, I want to say, and I'll show you a larger mock-up in a second, this is like the basic bones of this, this model. Do you see empty space here and empty space here and inside here? What you can do, if you like, is add several different stitches. You might want to add big blocks. You might want to do road stitch or mosaic or whatever stitch you think that you would like to do to enhance your castle. Now, the front door part, you'll see that this comes from my Gene Key sampler. Excuse me. Oh, this cold. Will I ever shake it? Forgive me. So, now the top part, these flaps, are also edged with nun stitch. And so, when you are working with your castle etui, you got the bottom here. And this says Mrs. Parkman's School of Academy of Needlework, Swindon, England, because that's where I'm going to teach it. And the fun part of this is, if I teach it in another venue, I can adjust that to show where I'm teaching it. But we're going to go over these dividers in a second, because let's say you want to display this at home. You might want to close the flaps, and they close like this, just like a box. You know how you do it successfully. Do this with a box top. You can close it up. And I am working on some accessories that will be available. I need to do another video showing my completed castle and the accessories. And actually, Rebecca Brigham of my recycled relatives is making a wonderful scissors fob to go with this. So again, I'll be offering kits, so email me if you would like the details on that. You know, let me know if you want 32, 36, or 40. And the thing is, this is a big project. Oh heck, I didn't bring that note, but the castle stands about 6.5 inches high, open. And then, of course, you have 4 sides. So I'll cover the grid width and all of that in a second. But I want to tell you, this is easy. Let me get the big one, and then I'll show you the outside and the inside so you can see it better. Hang on a sec. I noticed that my paper doll skills have not developed very well. But here's the outside. See, I have rice stitch and basically cross stitch on the outside. Nice big charts. And then here's the inside. Now the queen I made up, and I took the flower from the outside from a 1779 queen stitch sampler that I have reproduced. But here's the inside. Let's see if we can do this. So you have 4 rooms inside. There are 2 panels. So here's the inside panel with 4 sections. And here's the outside panel with 4 sections. Now, you see these divisions right here? You're going to do nun stitch that goes across the top and then down the side with 1 little nun stitch in the middle and then up the other side, so you can cut through those after you have joined them. There are 3 divisions like that. So, and you have a floor. Now, of course, in class and in the instructions, I cover step by step how to do everything. But this is one side of the floor, and you see it has nun stitch all around. And then this is the other side. I did a little mosaic. Mine will be queen stitch, but you could do eyelets, or you can do something else if you like. So the floor fits in, and how will it fit in? I'm going to do buttons and loops. And then for the side, where'd my little model go? Here it is. So when you close up the sides, you make it into a little box, you're going to have an open area, and you could do buttons and loops up the open area. I think I might do straight stitches and then weave ribbon through and tie it in a bow. So there are lots of options, and these are things that we'll be covering in Swindon. One thing I want to point out, and then we'll go over it again, there are pink hearts down the corners. I had to be sure that I had exactly the same number of squares in every section, so it will all match up. You don't stitch those little pink lines. If you can see them, they're right down here. But what I'm going to do is run straight stitches over 4 linen threads down those lines so that I can anchor skirtex or buckram inside to make it stiff so that it will stand up the way I want it to. Okay, and oh, let's see. I forgot the door. Hang on a sec. So, this is the outer door. But I made a double-sided inner door, an outer door, so you can hook it on with beads and have a door that opens. If you do this, you might want to make a seam there instead of another door. But that's an option. And this, again, you stitch 2 sides with nun stitch all around, and then you join the nun stitches. And I made a drawbridge, but I was in Scotland after I was working on this, and I visited lots of wonderful castles. Oh my gosh, it was just a dream trip. But I didn't see many drawbridges. But if you wanted one, I made one, and then you could attach it at the bottom you know, and have a drawbridge that open up and down. So, there you go. Now, so we've got the outside panel, the inside panel, and each of these has 4 sections. So it's going to look like this when you stitch it. Here's the outside, here's the inside, here's the floor, and here are the door and the drawbridge. Forgive my hands, these are working hands. As a matter of fact, I was helping my 8-year-old grandson hook on his hoverboard outside, and I stepped back not realizing the handlebars were right there and fell into the bush on that one. So, you know, sorry, these are not show hands. Let's go over a little bit of the instructions. And of course, for my students, you know, sissy2449@gmail.com is my email, and you'll have all that information, and you will have step-by-step instructions, lots of them, when you get the PDF. I've also included conversions for DMC. Of course, it won't be exactly the same, but it's as close a match as I could get. I understand that it's very difficult sometimes to get silks in England and Scotland, so I've done the DMC conversion as well. Now let me say, this is a wonderful stash dive project. If you don't like pinks and blues and you wanted to do more reds, you could do shades of reds, you could do shades of orange. I will tell you that one of the accessories will be a tartan needle book. So think about your colors and, you know, change them up. I really want this to be yours. I want this to be something that you will enjoy doing. If, for example, let's say, now I have a little dog chasing rabbits on mine, but what if instead of the trees, you wanted to do more flowers? Or if you don't like clean stitch, you can replace these flowers. Or maybe you want to put wisteria over the windows. I want you to make this your very own. You know, stitchers are so wonderfully creative. And I think that you will enjoy that if it's in, you know, in your own color. So think about it before class. So stash dive works. You probably have piles of linen just waiting to be stitched. Let's see. Now, I'm looking at my notes to be sure I'm going over everything. And of course, the students will have the complete set. How many pages is it? It's like, I don't know, 20 pages of notes. And then lots of charts too. Oh, this is what I want to say. Now, the PDF, I know that many stitchers use a fit to one page and they stitch with their iPad or other device. And what one told me is that she likes fit to one page in black and white because the system she uses, she colors out as she goes. And so I'm going to do fit to one page in black and white and in color, and then I'll have color charts and then black and white charts, and of course along with the instructions. So you'll be able to, you know, choose which type of chart you want to stitch from. Okay, so, and I mentioned that once it's all stitched, we will be adding something to make it stiffer. I usually use buckram. Sometimes I use Skirtex. I have used, oh heck, what is the name of the plastic stuff that Betsy Morgan uses? Can't think of it, but I've used that too. So think about what you would like to do because we want our little castles to be perky. So let's see. What else? Okay, let's go here. So we're going to have a visual aid. On the last page, I've made this so you can cut it out along the lines And you can make a little castle like this one. And that will be so helpful for your visual aid so you know exactly how it works. But, you know, I mentioned the straight stitches and the divides. Let's look at this. So this is how you stitch the nun stitch down and up and all around. And see this arrow points to the straight stitch that I put down the side where those pink hearts are. Okay, and I'm going to use those as an anchor with these other stitches when I anchor in my stiffening fabric. And, oops, this is a close-up of how it looks on the chart and how it looks stitched. And now, I love nun stitch. The thing to know about nun stitch is it looks like a U, and the open part of the U is always where you cut. So we're going to want to cut down here. So what we're going to do, we'll be stitching along the top with our open part sticking up, and then when we start down the side, the open part will be this way, and the middle stitch will be that way, and then coming up the other side, the open part will be that way. And we're going to be cutting and withdrawing this thread to make a cutting channel to remove excess linen. And we're going to cut out these two linen threads as well. And that way, see, we'll be able to join them, and we'll be able to have our little box top that can be open if we like. But if you wanted to close it like a box top, you can do that too. Okay, so again, I want you to make this your own. In these instructions, I'll show you in a second, I have included graphs, stitch graphs for alternating double backstitch, cross stitch over 2 and over 1, double running, herringbone stitch, nun stitch, queen stitch, rice stitch, and satin stitch, as well as the method to join the nun stitches. When I was in Scotland, I visited the most remarkable gardens, Drummond Gardens. They're actually the gardens that were featured as Versailles in Outlander. And so I love this motif. If I can show you without knocking over my water. This is the 1779 Netherlands sampler that I have reproduced for market. And these little blue flowers right up here, I took a couple of those and put them against the castle wall. Isn't that lovely? And also, talking of market, I took this out and made a little pin cushion with that. But those are your queen stitch flowers. And if you don't like queen stitch, you know, substitute something that you will enjoy more. Let's see, what else? Oh, I put rice stitch along the tower sections. And of course, that's a big X over 4x4 linen threads. And then the legs are crossed. So we'll look at the stitches in just a second. That little bird, you could do in double running or in back stitch. And his little body is satin stitch. And we'll go look at that in just a second. These are the queen stitches for those flowers. Now the queen stitches are represented by diamond shapes, and there's a little color symbol in each of those. Let's see, what else? Most of it is cross stitch. The towers, which are from my 1814 sampler, cross stitch over 2, and then filled in with satin stitch rows. Let's see, what else? Okay, here. There's satin stitch in different directions around the queen. And you could do back stitches or queen stitches down at the bottom of her little dress. You can do back stitch or double running for these little leaves. And this area right here, you can just do cross stitch or you can do herringbone stitch. I'm going to do herringbone stitch on 2 of mine and alternating double back stitch on 2. Let's see, what else? You'll have a Scottish alphabet from one of my samplers, and you can do double running or back stitch when you do that. And again, couldn't resist putting a unicorn tapestry on there. You know, for Scotland, you have to have a unicorn, and I have a rice stitch down here, and you can do double running or you can just do back stitch here. And again, here's a little line where you could do cross stitch or you can do herringbone or whatever you like. Now this dashed pink line, I'm glad to be seeing that. This is a fold line because up here is the flat part of your castle. And there's lots of linen up there if you wanted to put a verse inside your castle or whatever. But that's pretty much the way it is. So we have the inside of the castle. And the outside of the castle. Maybe if I pull it back, you can see it better. Okay, now, really, if you wanted to put more stones and blocks and delineation, mosaic flat or road stitches would work well on the outside and the inside of your castle. Now, where I started up here at the top left, and I did my nun stitch down here, and then I very, very carefully did my nun stitch to this point, and you know, count it and count it and count it because it's important that it's the same. And then I filled in all of the design before I did the next block. And again, this is so important. These little arrows show your cutting lines. But in order for everything to line up, you have to have exactly the same number of stitches between these fold lines. So, you know, I just did one panel at a time, or one panel in each section one at a time. And then, you know, we'll work on joining them. Okay, let's see what else. In the instructions, I tell you all of this, and the stitches are the way that I do them. Please do your stitches just the way that you like them done. Okay, so they're big old stitch graphs with instructions. See how to join the nun stitches, and I have several alphabets for you to use to personalize it. And then I have conversions for Versoix d'Alger and the 103s and DMC. So, what have I forgotten? Let me look at my notes. Okay, so The important thing again is to get each section exactly the same. Double, triple, and quadruple count your nun stitches to be sure that the sections in one panel match the sections in the other panel. So you can have this just done perfectly. Now, for my students in England, it's going to be fun. Please do not stress. Really, there isn't that much stitching on it. It's not going to take you very long to do. So you have several months between now and then. And I'll do another video soon with more information, but this is all you need to get started. And so you're going to have this beautiful little castle. Oops, that's Charlie. Charlie, hush. With the bottom, and you can personalize the bottom. I put my name in there and the year. But you have room. You could give yourself awards. Perfect attendance, diligent student. I don't know. What kind of award would you like? You could give yourself some awards there. So I think that's everything. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. But again, this is going to be fun. I don't want you to stress about it. The grid size is, okay, it's all in the instructions. It's going to be, on 40 count, the panels are about 5 inches wide and 6.5 tall. So it's going to be a nice size, and I hope that you'll enjoy it, and we're going to have a wonderful time making it. I'm just an email away, and again, if you are interested in the kit, let me know if you would want 32, 36, or 40, and remember, of course, if I do mine in 40 and you use 36 or 32, yours will be bigger, but everything else will work just fine. So, now I wonder how I'm going to turn this around so I can do a walkabout. Maybe I can just hold it. I don't know. Let's see. I guess I'll try that. Oh, and I should say that it is, was it in Narnia where they say it's always winter but never Christmas? Well, at my house, after Christmas, everything looks so, undecorated, that it's winter in my house. See, I have little winter things all around. So as we walk around, you'll see those. And again, I'm not sure how to turn this around while I'm in it. So I'll just hold it and hope for the best. Okay, let's see. All right.